Welcome to Got the T-Shirt podcast. I am Rachel.
Hi there, and I'm Sharon. And today's topic is Black Cat energy. Does it really work?
We recently read an article written by Shahida Aribi where she talks about Black Cat energy, women with dangerously powerful Black Cat energy when at dating and love, attracting high-quality men with these 5 principles. So we thought we would go through these principles as women of the world and see how they stack up. The first one is, these women create distance between themselves and a dating partner. Unbothered women see a potential dating partner as a possible liability, not an automatic benefit. They value their time and energy and won't sacrifice it unless their partner proves to be consistently worthy. Emotions don't dictate their dating decisions. They are willing to walk away at any sign of toxicity or boundary violations. I'm not sure about that, you know?
No, I'm not.
If you value your time and energy that much and not prepared to sacrifice it, unless their partner proves to be consistently worthy.
It's a tough call. It is a tough call. And not only that, and you need to spend time with someone in order to know these things.
Yeah.
In the first place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. They won't value, they value the time and energy, won't sacrifice it. But, I mean, I don't call it a massive sacrifice spending time with somebody that I'm trying to get to know. And I don't expect them to be consistently worthy. What does that actually mean? I mean, everyone's human.
I think it's a strong art of attachment. Detachment, sorry. It's a strong art of detachment and avoiding attachment. So it almost feels like a bit of a game that you're putting this mask on, this harnessing of energy, the way they call it, the Black Cat energy, where you're kind of not bothered, but you are, but you're not, or you're not showing that you're bothered. It's that kind of thing. So it's almost like you're trying to be somebody that you're not.
I'm not sure about that then, because I don't like playing games.
Okay, do you want to go on to the next one?
Yeah.
Yeah, they never approach relationships from the standpoint of fear of losing a man. What they fear most is losing themselves and their dignity much more. Now, I can agree with this. I have done this. I have been with someone where it's an art form. It is like there is a level of detachment there, but you really have to dig deep to not fear losing them. You have to put that out of your mind. It doesn't matter how much you like them. You have to put that out of your mind, and you have to focus on not losing yourself in that relationship, not sacrificing yourself to make them happy, because that's what we tend to do. We tend to go, here you are, have it all, we want you, let's go. You know, I think we're quite simple creatures, really. I know men will disagree, but I think we are, with what our desires are.
I do agree that I don't obviously feel like women should become so involved in a man that they completely lose themselves and they lose their identity and they start to close themselves off from friendships, etc. Yeah, I totally agree on that respect. But I feel like if you are remaining detached and you're holding back and you're not giving enough of yourself to the relationship, I feel like the other person is going to feel a constant state of anxiety because they never really feel sure whether or not you're in it or not, which may make them then be unintentionally over clingy because they fear that you could walk at any moment, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I feel like if you give someone that impression that at any moment you're not really in it and at any moment you will walk, I feel like that doesn't necessarily make them just gravitate towards you in a positive way. It may make them just cling on because they're panicked that they think at any minute you're going to just take that affection away. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's a very, I don't know, like I said, I just don't like games. I feel like that's a fine.
No, I have done this though. I will admit I have done this one purposely to not let myself get too attached. I have done that. I've distanced myself. So I have done it. But men are quite simple creatures too, in many ways. If you make something too difficult for them with little reward, because there has to be a reward in it somewhere, they have to be getting something out of it. And again, striking up that balance, I think, is key to getting that right. And I think a lot of us will actually get it wrong, because I think, I'm trying to think now if I've actually got it wrong in the past, but I think someone that I was dating, I was so detached and so focused on myself that he made a comment to me one day and said, but you're all right because you're not that into me anyway. And therefore he wouldn't invest. I don't think he invested emotionally.
Yeah, which is
and that's
obviously the
why,
opposite of what we want. You want to involve.
exactly. And I think there's also this, I think if you detach that much, you are stood in your masculine energy. And in order for this thing to work, whatever way you're going, you want the masculine energy that you're trying to attract, and you need to be in your feminine energy. And I think if you're too detached and too focused on yourself and not bothering barely with somebody, just minimal sort of effort, I think it sort of sits on the side of masculinity. What do you think?
I don't know, because I think that men and women can flip between the two and they can coexist together. I think, and
But in
so
dating?
yeah, because sometimes men can behave in a way that someone might identify that as being quite a feminine
Yeah.
trait. I don't even know, like,
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, they can. They
and
can, I
women
guess.
can do the same thing. Women can be quite promiscuous, and some men might think, wow, she's behaving like I would. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we can do everything. We can be anything. But I think if you're trying to get into a relationship with somebody, I don't know that necessarily this would be the way
Well,
to get the signals you want to give, you know, which is that I'm into you and I'm interested and I want to learn
yeah,
more. Not I'm on the fence and I'm at any moment I might just, you know, take off.
yeah, yeah. Walk away at any time. I've convinced people of that, even when it's not been true. I must admit, I've done it quite well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that second one there, yeah, I've done that, and it has made, I suppose, in a way, yes, it has made someone more interested in me. But it is a fine line. It is a balance.
And were they interested in you for the right reason? Were they interested in you because they were interested in you, or were they
Yeah.
more led by the fear of, oh my God, she's pulling away, so I'm going to have to step up and do more?
Yeah, at times, I think so. He would probably disagree. But I think so, because, you know, we were seeing each other for a little while last year. So,
That's not what you really want. I mean, you want them to really be into you, because not because of any little thing that you've read and thought, I'm going to try this out on this person. You want them to be into just because their chemistry
no,
is
but
there.
I also think with me, that was self-preservation. That was also me trying to control my emotions, because, you know, us women, you know, we can be overly emotional about things. And this desire for this companionship, this union, this togetherness, it kind of can literally sit in our minds 24/7. And I think once you start focusing on other things, or try to focus on other things, especially if you really like someone, I tend to let them come to me. I try and let them have their peace, let them be, which again is an art form in itself. That's another podcast. But I do get what she's saying there, and I have done that. And yes, it has. I guess it has worked for me. Someone has become more interested because I am quite detached. But again, this is the dating stage, Rach. This isn't relationship wise. This is when you're first getting to know somebody and you're kind of back and forth. But again, it is a balance, because if you're too much unavailable, on that level, then I think
it's never going to get off the ground anyway.
it's never going to get off the ground. The person's going to lose interest. And so you'll be replaced, really, I feel. What's the third one?
Okay. They play by their own rules. When I'm saying they, women, play by their own rules and don't submit to the authority of the man they're dating. Women with femme fatale, black cat energy do not fall for tactics like love bombing as easily because they already appreciate and validate themselves. These women cannot be controlled or coerced into lowering their standards in dating. It's important not to settle for low effort dates, last minute texts, any kinds of ghosting or mixed signals. Now, I feel like that is just standard anyway, isn't it? I mean, that is generally the dating rules anyway, not
This is boundaries.
Yeah,
this is setting boundaries. We are assuming here that these women are healed, not carrying any baggage, don't have any trauma. You know, I mean, love bombing, again, I've experienced this, and love
bombing does wear off. They may start out love bombing, but you know, it doesn't last. So I kind of
I know, because like, isn't the stage one of dating the obsession? Stage one of dating is the chatting, it's the obsession. It's like, oh, I want to get to know you. I mean, I know some people take it too far, and I mean, I have been love bombed, and it did turn out to be quite a sort of negative relationship, toxic relationship in the end. But and that's why I'm wary of when I first start dating someone, when they start saying things like, oh, I really like you, and it's really early on. And then on the other hand, like when I speak to you about it, you're like, well, what's wrong with that?
Well, yeah, because if they're not saying anything like that after you've been dating for a while, then you're going to be like, he never even says he likes me. Then it's kind of like, they're kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't. So I think it's a nice thing if you just start seeing someone and they just look up and say,
yeah, it is. But it's again, it's that balance. It has to feel right, be right, you know, and it has to suit you. I mean, I still believe in taking things one step at a time, because I think sometimes you can have so much chemistry with someone, you can think, oh my God, this is my person, so early on, and dive straight in, and then once you really get to know them, it's like, oh, hang on a minute, this isn't right for me. So what are we saying about this one then? Are we saying, speak of the devil, these women cannot be controlled or coerced into... Do you know what this reminds me of, actually? This person that I'm reading here, what you read out then about, you know, they can't be controlled or coerced into lowering their standards. Do you know who I thought of then? Do you know Mary from Downton Abbey?
I don't.
When she was courting. Yeah, that's what came to me then. Like, she was all aloof and probably in her black cat energy and didn't even realise it. Do you know what I mean? That's what came to me then. And that's why she had, obviously, umpteen suitors, but...
I never watched that, so I can't...
Okay. Do you want me to read the next one? They do what benefits them and not what pleases a man.
Elaborate?
Making the man eager to please and put their dating partners above their own. Again, how long does this last? How long are you supposed to do? Is this just dating, is it, to get the guy really interested in you? Because once you let all your barriers down, once you take the mask off, once you stop doing all this black cat energy, or you relax a little bit.
If you even get beyond that, because if you were to adopt all of these things to the letter, I wonder if you'll even get to the actual relationship part, because I think a lot of men might just be like,
again, this is all assuming you are healed, you have no baggage, you know, I mean, you can validate yourself, of course, you can be a high value woman, whatever, but to the other person who you want to impress or you want to like you, there has to be that balance. There has to be that little bit of give. There has to be that reward. that communication, that time together.
If you're too
And it
aloof,
must be really difficult to keep this up.
if you're too aloof in your energies, then yeah, because and I don't feel like there's anything wrong in sometimes just letting the other person have that little win.
No.
Where's the harm? Do you know what I mean? Where's the
Yeah.
harm? So I feel
Yeah.
like if you're going to be really like, I'm putting up boundaries and brick walls everywhere, is that going to make that person gravitate more towards you, or is it going to make them start to think, I'm going to reopen my dating app because I'm not getting it what I need from this woman because she's acting so aloof and so
No.
uninterested that I'm not sure where I
And
stand.
I think a woman who does it all, I think, is in her masculine energy as well. I think if she's not asking for any help, she doesn't need any help. And if he's in his masculine energy, you're not going to get on. If it's two masculine energies, you're not going to be drawn to each other.
No, I mean,
Okay. What's the next one?
okay. They worship and value themselves and put themselves on a pedestal so others feel compelled to dote on them. A femme fatale woman with black cat energy knows that if anyone should be put on a pedestal, it should be her, not a stranger she's dating. She will make him his entire world in turn. Unlike the pick-me woman, she won't abandon her friends, loved ones, or dreams for a man. She prioritizes herself and puts herself first. Now, yes, obviously, I agree with that because I think that you should, as a woman, put yourself first and not abandon your friends or loved ones and dreams for a man. So that's standard. I feel like that doesn't need something that's labelled as black cat energy. I think that's just the standard that any woman should follow. That
Worship and value themselves and put themselves on a pedestal.
I don't know about that bit. I don't know.
I don't know about that bit either, because I kind of feel as if, I think it was Sadia Psychology, the Muslim lady that talks quite a lot about relationships. She's quite good. One of the things she said that struck a chord with me was women need to idolize the man. Where the woman is more emotional, she has emotional needs or what have you, she needs to idolize the man. So in many ways, we put the man on a pedestal. Now, where the man is more logical and practical with his way of thinking and less emotional, that dynamic between the girl idolizing the boy or the man or whatever, is like almost like a father-daughter relationship where you look up to them because, you know, us with daddy issues or whatever. I think we need a hero. We want a hero in a man, the masculine and the feminine, whereas the guy wants the wife, the homemaker, the lover, you know, somebody to cherish them kind of thing, in more subtle ways. So this pedestal thing, if you're on it, again, I feel as if it's more of a masculine energy where you're, which I don't think is going to work. Maybe it is. Maybe the viewers can like say, oh, I've harnessed full black cat energy and it's working great for me, and you've managed to get the guy or whatever that you want to be with.
You know, if you have to follow these suggestions in order to win the man over, was he even the right man in the first place? Because I'd like to think if there's someone out there that you're clicking with just because they tick a lot of your boxes and you tick a lot of theirs, surely you shouldn't need to implement these these processes in order to keep them interested. It should just naturally evolve, shouldn't it?
Yeah. I get it does seem a lot more complicated these days, this dating, it really does. I get why it's going on, because people are studying the psychology of men and women in relationships a lot more closely now than they ever have. And I think...
Why do you think that is? Do you think that's possibly because, like you've said before, it's like being in a sweet shop when you go on a dating app. Like, there's no real reason why you need to try and make a relationship work with somebody when there's literally another 5,000 men just waiting for your chat on an app. So where's the effort needed in keeping that relationship going when you know that if it's starting to teeter a bit, there's no need to pull it back and try and really make it work, because there's a whole army of men just waiting in the wings. Like there's no effort needed to keep it going and keep it progressing to see where it goes.
But having said that, we do tend to focus on one guy in particular, the one that stands out the most. There'd be one in particular that we want more than the others. You know, you can speak to as many people as you like, but there'd be one that's rocking your world. There'd be one that stands out more than the others, and there'd be one that you want to focus on. And in return, obviously, you want them to focus on you. So these little tweaks of traits, personality, character, energy enhancing things, I get it. I completely get it. But I think to let it go as far as what this list is, I just think it's unrealistic in a way, unless you are a completely healed human being who has not had any trauma, who has no baggage, who is comfortable in her own skin. I mean, I'm narrowing down as I talk. I can feel the amount of people that have that and are not stood firmly in your masculine energy. I mean, how many, I don't know anybody, well, I don't know anybody like that, if I'm honest, who can completely carry this off. So I think it's a good idea to perhaps carry over some of these traits, some of these ideas, and
maybe
see how they work for you.
Maybe have them in your mind, but I feel like there's not anything really new here that I'm reading that hasn't been said before in a different way. Yeah, in a different way. I mean, a lot of it's common sense stuff. Like, you know, if you've just got over a broken heart, maybe you're not in the right frame of mind to jump into something new. But then saying that, people do say the easiest way to get over someone is to get under someone else. And I can vouch for that.
Right.
It may be that getting under that other person doesn't mean that that other person is going to be your new boyfriend. It just might mean that it's just somebody that's just a
distraction.
Yeah. And, you know, but then it could turn into something else. You just don't know.
No.
I mean, relationships get started up in lots of different funny ways. And
no, I agree. You know, I think if you're going to try any of those things, just do what works for you. I just wouldn't take it too far, because I think
it would be awful to lose out on a relationship that was otherwise going really well just because you suddenly feel like you should be implementing these things that wouldn't be what you would normally do, and then suddenly the other person thinks you've lost interest and then starts to move away. And
I think importantly, what guys don't want is somebody who's really needy and really, really clingy. So if my advice would be to anything is to learn a little bit of detachment and refrain from the paragraphs telling them what they do wrong. And let them try and let them come to you as much as possible. That's what's worked for me in the past. And hopefully, and I think having the same goals, the same ideals for what a type of relationship it is you're looking for. I mean, obviously, if they're looking for casual, there's, you know, again, it's a risk that you take with somebody who just wants casual, that perhaps that they'll want more with you once they get to know you.
I know, but we're eternal optimists and we think they'll change.
I know, right?
They'll fall in love.
We can change them. They'll fall in love with me. And then you end up doing loads for them, and then they don't. No. Because you end up, and it's like, don't do much for them. Stop mothering them. Bring your power back. I suppose
I think in those scenarios, the bloke has probably told you more than once that, I know, he's not, this is it, this is the best it's going to be. And sometimes you have to just believe them and step away.
Yeah,
and know when
they do show you. They do show you what they're about and what they're, you know. So, yeah, find somebody, A, who is looking for a relationship. B, your couple goals match what they're looking for. If they're one of these people that they work all hours God sends, they don't have a lot of time for togetherness, they need their space when they do, they've got their mates, their kids, they're this, they're that, and you want somebody that you can be like a bestie with, do everything with almost, you know, still have your space, but you spend the vast majority of the time, your free time, in a union, in togetherness with them. If that's what you want, but their goals are the opposite, they want their space, it's never going to work. It's never going to work. So you have to make sure that you get that in place first.
And even if you get into it thinking that they will eventually give up their time for you because they'll fall in love with you and they won't be able to resist, sometimes you have to admit defeat and say, do you know what? I just can't do this anymore. I'm sick of being the bottom of the list, and you know it's time to walk away.
Yeah,
I think sometimes it's the healthiest option to do that, no matter how much you don't want to.
I think women are more powerful than we realise in relationships and with men. I mean, we've got the goods. Do you know what I mean? And so, you know, refraining from giving it to them too much, not bartering with it, but just stop being so available. I think I need to do that. Not having so much time on my hands for someone, I think.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Yeah.
So we're kind of on the fence then with this black cat energy.
Some of it, yes. Some of it.
The common sense stuff I will always agree with, because yes, it's common sense to have
Rachel's sensible.
I am.
I'm the crazy one. I'll try it. Suck it and see.
But but some of but changing your whole way of being just to follow a process that you've read about, I don't know if that's necessarily the way to go.
But I'd still be interested to see if anybody's followed it to the T and it's really working for them. And there's still bound to be some people that have done it, but I think the vast majority, I think you have to be so level-headed, so clear, and sitting in your feminine energy to do it well. I think that's an art form in itself. I really do.
Yeah.
Really
so
do.
If anybody has done it and wants to come on here and talk to us about it,
absolutely.
If you don't want to talk to us about it, but you still want to tell us about it, and then you give us permission to read out your experience, we would be happy to do that as well. And not just dating, any experience, anything you would like to come on and talk to us about, any subject. We have got the T-shirt because we've all got the T-shirt. So if there's something you want to come talk to us about, we would love to have you come join us in a chat, or just tell us your story and we will read it out. Thanks for listening, and we will see you in a new episode soon. Bye.
Bye for now.
Hi, welcome to... Oh my God, I sounded really deep then. Hi, I'm Rachel. No? That was your cue to say, and I'm Sharon, and then I was going to say...
No, you're supposed to say, welcome to Got the T-shirt. Where was that?
I don't know. Okay. I don't know why I forgot.
Go and find it.
Hi, welcome to Got the T-shirt. I am Rachel.
And I'm Sharon. And hello. Welcome to... Oh my God, no! What was that?
No.
Right, okay. Do it again.
I just look like I've got this big red rash. And when the light's not on, it's not there.
There's something in there,
the light's
isn't it?
making it look like I've literally got some kind of a thing going on.
And we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.
Bye. Oh, hang on. Fucking brush strap fell down. That way.
I've got to take this off. I'm so freaking hot. Oh. Casting our best tops.